Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Edison, and you're tuned in
to Movie BLAB.
The clock has started.
The clock has started.
Action! What's going on, everybody? It's Andrew Edison, and it's time for Movie BLAB with a special fave swap with special guest Matt Cragg. Tune in with us. It's gonna be a fun one. Yeah.
To this podcast, spread the word.
What's going on, everybody? I'm Andrew Edison. I'm here with Matt Cragg. How are you, Matt Cragg?
What's going on, gang? How's it going?
For those of you who've never seen Movie BLAB before, this is the live stream channel for tuning in, for nerding out, for being a big film geek, movie fan, movie buff, whatever you want to call yourself, movie moron. All of these things are true for everyone here. And we're sharing that with you live every other day, basically, every Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday.
Whenever we feel like it.
Please like and subscribe. Let's dive into it. Matt Cragg, you are here to play the first ever fave swap with us, which is a game where it's kind of a game. It's a challenge where that many friends do, where one of us recommends a movie to one of us and the other one recommends a movie to the other one of us, and then we watch those movies and we get together and we find out what the other person thought, because that's what happens when you give a friend a movie. You're like, did you watch it yet? Like, what did you, you just like want to know what they think. It's like a thrill.
Yeah, this is the best way to ensure that your friends actually take your movie rec seriously. What you do, you get them to watch a movie for a live stream, and then you make them talk about your opinions in front of thousands and millions of people.
Which is what we're doing, yeah.
Which is what we're doing. That's the sort of scope and reach that we have here on Movie BLAB.
Absolutely.
And I'm really excited to talk about the movies we have here today, Andrew.
Oh, God, you're the best, Cragg. Thank you so much for being here. Let's dive in, bro. Here we go. It is time for Fave Swap. That's right, we're swapping our faves.
Swapping fave.
We got a lot of faves, but these are the ones we picked out for each other. We've got Vertigo for me to watch from Matt Cragg, and Buffalo 66 was my rec to Matt. Let's start with Buffalo 66 and find out what Cragg thought.
I think it's important to point out, too, that Andrew had never seen Vertigo before, and I've never seen Buffalo 66
Yes,
before.
the fave swap is you're exposing each other to the film. Thank you. That's very helpful.
Yes. Buffalo 66, are we just go ahead and starting off with
Dive in, dude. Dive in, bro.
Buffalo 66 starts out very uncomfortably, and I wasn't sure if I was gonna like this movie, but then once I sort of got into the groove of it and started to understand the tone,
which is very unique and specific.
Which is very unique. I've never seen a movie quite like this before.
Yes.
And I really started to get into it as it went along. Some great.
What point did it? Oh yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no. Go ask your question.
Well, what point did it get you? What point did it start to really get you?
I was like, okay, so the beginning of the movie, it starts out like he gets out of prison.
Yep.
Right? And he's got to go to the bathroom really bad.
Which I love. It's like immediate relatability.
It's funny. Like, there's like good comedy to it. And he's like running around. He gets out of prison, like takes the bus all the way back to the city of Buffalo. And he's like running around the bus station and all the bathrooms are closed. And he tries to go into restaurants and the bathrooms are closed. And eventually he goes into this like tap dancing studio.
Yes.
And he tries to use the bathroom there, but there's a man who looks at his genitalia.
Yes.
And he freaks out.
Calls him a bunch of slurs.
Calls him a bunch of slurs. And then goes outside, and then that's when you see Christina Ricci.
Yes.
And when Christina Ricci came in, that's when I started to be like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm into this movie.
Yeah. It does almost feel like a what's that movie, Manchester by the Sea or something in the beginning of the movie, or just like very like stark, and I don't know. It feels
he's so aggressive. The whole movie, he's
he
so
really is.
Like Vincent. Is it Gallo or Gallo?
Vincent Gallo. Vincent Gallo.
He's so aggressive this whole movie. and just like his energy level is like way up here. So like when Christina Ricci came in and like she really like balances him out, like
oh my god,
she's so like I don't know what the best
incredible.
way to describe her. She's like very like even keel this whole movie.
Well, she's almost she's balancing between oblivious and wise. Like there's so much. I feel like there's so much depth to her character in how it's written, but also how she underplays her.
Yeah, but they play off each other super well.
Yes,
and that's like their relationship dynamic is what made me start to really enjoy this film.
Yes, totally. Absolutely. That's awesome. I'm so glad you liked it, dude, because you didn't tell me if you did or not, and I was so freaked out.
Yeah,
this is a soul movie for me. This is a big soul movie for me. Like, it's a recent kind of a chick at a coffee shop told me to watch it.
Yeah.
And I watched it and was like, holy shit, I love this movie, and watched it so many times. We're going to get into who Vincent Gallo is as an artist, but right now I want to kind of keep it to the movie. It hooks you in. It's a ride. Basically, the premise that you get to is he's been lying to his parents and saying that he'd become a rich businessman and is traveling around the world and had gotten married when really he was in prison. And you find out kind of later on what he was in prison for. But so he's on the phone with his mom in this incredible scene where he's lying to everybody about he's laying out this lie and figuring it out as he's saying it.
He's just kind of rolling with it.
Yeah, and so you find out where this guy really is, and he's stuck in a lie in many ways, and he's gonna kidnap this poor girl to make her play the role of his wife. And that's when it got me for the first time. That's when I was like, okay, this is an amazing comedic, yet almost dramedy. It's the perfect.
Yeah.
It's
because,
the perfect
there are
hook.
parts where it's like absolutely making jokes and it's like trying to be funny for sure.
Yes.
But there are also moments that are like really intense. Some real like strong tension, like really high dramatic moments.
Yeah, we're talking about two movies today that are super tense.
Yeah. What you didn't tell me about this movie when you got me to watch it was that it's a sports movie.
Yes.
Which
it really is. It really is a sports movie. Yeah, I love. What did you think of that?
So the subplot of it being a sports movie,
a gambling sports movie.
Yeah.
Yes, with an incredible scene from Mickey Rourke, right?
Yeah, Mickey Rourke plays the bookie in like a cameo
killer
flashback.
monologue.
Yeah. So like the idea is his mom is like a huge Buffalo Bills fan. Vincent Gallo's mom, who's played by Angelica Houston, is like a massive Buffalo Bills fan. And if you guys know anything about the Buffalo Bills, they have some of the most insane fans.
Yes.
Some of the most rowdy, insane fans in all of sports.
Yep.
And they're a tortured fan base too.
Yes, because they've never won a Super Bowl since.
They've never won, or I can't remember if they've never won or if they won one.
I think it was. I think they won one a long ass time ago, and that's what she's constantly rewatching. But I'm not exactly sure.
Well, what I wasn't sure about that either. But
let's also point out that Angelica Houston plays the mother, and they go to visit the parents, and the father is played by
I didn't know who he was.
Fuck, he's incredible, but I'll find out. But anyway, she is like this huge sports fan, obviously, of the Buffalo Bills.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not a sports guy. But she also suffers from some sort of mental illness of some kind, whether it's like a dementia or like a memory issues or something going on with her mind. But it's not really a specific illness. It's more something that was created from Vincent Gallo's kind of head. But what were you going to say about that? I'm sorry.
What I was going to say, though, is so she's a huge Buffalo Bills fan. And then, like, I think, like, kind of, like, to, like, try and get her approval and to make some money, Vincent Gallo ends up making a huge bet. Puts $10,000 on the Buffalo Bills to win Super Bowl. Yes. This is the Super Bowl in 1991, I believe it was, when they played the New York Giants.
Yes.
In which there is an infamous Scott Norwood is the kicker's name, and he missed a 47-yard field goal wide right. It's like a super famous, like, and 8 seconds left in the game, like, to win it and to win the Super Bowl, and they lose it to the New York Giants.
Oh, like, so it's based on this real game.
It's based on a real Super Bowl.
Yes, that's awesome.
They just changed the name of the kicker.
Okay, amazing.
His first name is still Scott in the movie, too.
That's awesome, dude.
And so this guy sort of, like, he had been like a real, like, staple in Buffalo. People in Buffalo really liked him. Like, he had hit some big kicks in the playoffs to get them to the Super Bowl. Yeah. And was, like, kind of a fan favorite. And then he missed that field goal, and, like, his life changed. Like, he had to leave Buffalo eventually. Oh my God. And, like, fell out of public life entirely because the Buffalo fans wouldn't let him live it down. And so I thought it was incredible that they used this real life thing to make this subplot. So Vincent Gallo puts all this money on the game, right? And they lose because he misses the field goal. Yes. And then Vincent Gallo can't pay his bookie. So he takes the fall for his bookie for...
and you realize that this is why he was in jail.
And you realize this is why he was in jail. He didn't actually do anything. It was just that he couldn't pay his bookie, and so he takes the fall for his bookie.
For someone else who committed a crime. Yeah, by confessing to a crime he didn't commit, which is so classic. This movie is extremely in the American tradition, in this crazy way. Like this hyper way. It's hyper Americana kind of like craziness.
And then I love that whole subplot about him getting out of prison, and he's like, I'm going to kill Scott Norwood, whoever. I can't remember what the kicker's name they use in the movie, but he's like, I'm going to kill him. And he's like becomes like obsessed with him. And it's so funny because that was like such a real thing that like apparently the real Scott Norwood got death threats and stuff all the time, and like that's like he like fell into a real depression. There's a ESPN 30 for 30 called The Four Falls of Buffalo, and it's about the 90s Buffalo Bills in which they went to the Super Bowl 4 times in a row and lost all 4 times.
Oh my God.
So like I said, they're the worst. Oh yeah, they're a real tortured fan base.
That's so. I love all the layers of that I can now see in the movie, and that transitions well into. There's a lot of information about this movie and the behind the scenes of this movie. It's a very personal film. It's an extremely personal film. For those of you who are just tuning in, we are talking about Buffalo '66, the film by the incredible and terrible Vincent Gallo, starring Christina Ricci. So anyway, I wanted to share with you, on that note, I wanted to share with you, Cragg, some crazy IMDb trivia, some stuff that I know about this movie.
Oh, please, let me know. I sort of withheld. I like doing this after
I
watch
like this.
Movies.
Yeah.
I like going and reading the IMDb trivia and trying to figure out a lot of things about the people. But when I finished it last night, it was like 1 a.m. Yeah. And I figured you were going to let me know all of this
No, I think this is almost more fun. I haven't really looked at the Vertigo trivia if you wanted to peruse it during the break.
Okay, yeah. I'll look into it.
Here's what I know off the top of my head. The mother character he claims is completely based on his mother. His own mother. He shot it in the house that he grew up in. That is his real house.
Wow.
His mother. That's all his mother's fandom shit. He said that the only completely true aspect of the movie is his parents.
The portrayal of his parents.
He hates his parents as much as he is this character. I mean, this is one of the most personal films I think I've ever seen, because when you see interviews with Vincent Gallo, he's like a Trump supporter now. He is an angry man. So basically after the film was made, he said that the cinematography was terrible. He said Angelica Houston was awful, that Christina Ricci was fat, and that the whole crew was talentless, and that they didn't have the money to get anyone worth anything. So he basically disowned the entire cast and crew, which I have never truly heard of before, but separately in interviews.
To just throw them all under the bus like that is nuts.
And he's done it to Chloe Grace Moretz. No, not Chloe Grace Moretz. Who's the actress in... God, she's so good, and she's... Chloe Sevigny. He did it to Chloe Sevigny after The Brown Bunny, which is a film where she gives him an on-screen blowjob.
Oh, I've heard about
for
that.
real. That's his second movie that people say is terrible. I haven't watched it because I love Buffalo 66 so much that I can't even think about it. But I'm going to check that out soon.
What's funny about that, Andrew, is that the entire movie, I really love the entire movie, but like the hardest thing for me to get behind was Vincent Gallo.
Exactly.
So,
I can get behind his movie 100%. I love his movie. Everything he's done and everything he's said and everything he says now and all that stuff. I mean, he gave up on movies now. He doesn't think that he can make a better movie than Buffalo 66. And
probably not.
I mean, he wished cancer upon Roger Ebert on the Howard Stern show. He wished cancer upon him. Yes. I'll send you these clips.
Was Buffalo 66, was it critically well received or no?
Yes, Roger Ebert loved Buffalo 66 and hated Brown Bunny, I believe. He shat all over Brown Bunny. I mean, Buffalo 66 was an indie darling. Like, it is for how unlikable and edgy it is extremely likable. Like, in its own way, it has its own charisma in the performances that is. And
it
the
does.
chemistry
is
just.
All of the characters. That's what I was saying.
Literal
all of the characters
chills,
are extremely
Literal
charismatic, except for him.
Yeah.
It's a good dynamic.
No, but he is charismatic, but it's an angry charisma.
Sure.
You see him talking to his buddies. You see him talking to he has this thing. He has this crazy. I mean, it's bipolar. It's manic depression. It's just all this undiagnosed life. He has a completely undiagnosed life.
He's had a pretty shitty life, like the character,
Yes.
And I guess Vincent Gallo too, because it's pretty semi-autobiographical.
Oh God, yeah.
It does such a weird thing too, where it goes it's so real in some points and so gritty, and then it'll switch and it becomes fantastical. It's a fantasy.
Let's talk about it because when Gallo set out to make this movie, he imagined it. He wanted it to be a musical. He said, "I'm going to make a musical," and that's what came out of it. And if you think about it, it is a musical. There's several musical numbers in it, and it has the sort of sweeping romance of it, and it has but it's as if you took. The musical is the afterthought now, right? But it's it's still there, and it gives you some of those musical feelings that you get when you watch a musical, in my opinion. That's one of the things I love about it, because I love musicals too. So it's it is a movie musical. It is the most non-mainstream, unconventional movie musical I've ever seen, but it is a movie musical.
I don't know if I'd go as far to call it a movie musical, but there are I guess there are musicals.
Are you disagreeing with Vincent Gallo?
I see what he's talking about. So there's the scene where they're having dinner at his parents' house. And it's him and Christina Ricci pretending to be his wife, and then Angelica Houston as his mother, and then his father.
Mm-hmm.
And Christina Ricci is asking about them, and he's his father is well, I was a singer once. And she's oh, would you sing for me? Or do you have any records or anything lying around? And so then they go upstairs, and he puts on a record for her, and has this crooning voice that he's clearly lip singing over.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was crazy.
Yeah, dude. This is so
moment,
surreal.
And then there's the scene where Christina Ricci tap dances in the bowling alley.
That's the sexiest thing I've ever seen on film, in my opinion.
Yeah. Those are some very fantastical moments. Well, it goes, like I said, it goes back and forth between being super gritty, and super real, and then being super fantastical.
But there's a rawness to the entire thing. So he shot it on a film stock that was almost over by then, that was super rare, even expensive to use even by then, called 16 millimeter reversal. And that's why the colors are so muted and beautiful. And it's the kind of film stock where you can immediately watch it. So it was designed so you could immediately watch it after shooting it, right? Okay. You didn't have to get it developed. It developed itself, reverse stock. And so that's why it looks so dope. And it was shot by Spike Jonze, the person who eventually became Spike Jonze's go-to cinematographer for literally everything. He's the reason Spike Jonze movies look so dope. And you can see a little of it in this. But Vincent Gallo, what he claimed is he was the cinematographer, that he asked for every shot, and that the cinematographer was just a monkey.
Such an egomaniac.
Yeah, dude. That's what the thing I did was I watched the movie once, and then I watched this Howard Stern interview with Vincent Gallo, watched a bunch of press, read a bunch of stuff about it and how toxic he is, and then watched it again. And it's so interesting because you're trying to figure out where is the line, because he's slightly different. He's a little funnier, more charismatic, less angry, but it comes out, man. It comes out. Slightly different ways, but this was catharsis for him. This movie was his hate letter to the world and love letter to love. Like, you know what I mean?
That's
like,
crazy. Yeah.
It's incredible.
Did you? I wanted to talk more about the dining room scene.
God, I love it. Yes, the way it's shot, the whole thing is so bizarre.
It's so weird.
Yes, it makes me want to throw up. It's so good.
I'm like, I was so disoriented the whole time. I was like, wait, like, are they just like, are these jump cuts where like every once in a while, like someone's not at the table? But so, it's like, no, it's what he's doing.
They're POVs.
They're weird, like POV shots.
But then sometimes there are time jumps in there. From what I can tell, here it is right here. Oh, it just went away. But I got to figure out how to make the slideshows work, because every time I see this slide, I want to show. But yeah, it's super strange. Every time I watch it, I can't wrap my mind around exactly what's going on there. But I love the performances in it. There's 3 movies here, maybe 4. You know. All starring.
Yeah, they pack a lot in there.
There's so much, like I said, a genre and American film, like an indie film spirit in this movie, and it seems inspired by like Bad Lieutenant with Harvey Keitel, especially with the sports gambling. It's just it's a thriller, it's a comedy, it's a drama, it's a love story. It's like, I love when somehow a movie nails like this whole spectrum of genres. So I wish he would make more films and didn't have his ego and didn't cancel himself constantly. Yeah, exactly. Because this movie has a lot of liberal things to say. But I think it's important that we watch movies by all kinds. I still like Clint Eastwood movies, even though he sits in invisible chairs or whatever at Republican conventions. What was that?
He spoke to, like, he was like, if the president was here right now, this is what I'd say to the president.
There's an empty
and
chair.
He's like, he's just like talking at an empty chair, and he's just like rambling on. And someone's like, well, get him off the stage now.
Yeah, and you know what? This movie isn't like the best. What?
I was gonna say, there's a little bit of separating the art from the artist. A little
Definitely,
bit.
And that's what I find interesting about this. And I'll do it. You know, I mean, this one in particular, the movie wouldn't be good if he wasn't the fucking asshole that he is.
Yeah.
And I can respect the idea that he was willing to capture that. And wanted to capture it and wanted to share that part of him, the darkest parts of himself in every scene, and to use this opportunity to, I mean, I feel so bad for all the people who were involved in this movie, but I want them to know that it means something to me.
They made a great movie.
Yeah. More than Vincent Gallo.
No matter
all the
what
other
Vincent
people.
Gallo says, they made a great movie.
Yeah. And I would love to find someone who was on the crew for this and interview them, because I find it to be such an interesting indie staple, Sundance darling, you know.
Such a cast, too. I mean, there's so many great people in it.
Yeah, he spent a lot of all his money on getting these people, and he resented them for having to pay them.
Yeah. He did.
I know so much about this movie. It's crazy.
We didn't talk. I don't know how much time we have, but
I mean, are you in a rush?
No.
So
we didn't talk about the final sequence in which he goes into the strip club to kill the kicker, to kill the Bills kicker.
Yes, I love this scene. What did you think?
And it's awesome.
Yeah.
It is incredible.
It's so original.
It's so original. And I mean, the way they make it feel like every time stops.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And he goes in there, and then they show him do it. They show him kill the kicker and then kill himself.
And the way they show it is amazing. It is this crazy moment where this is the shot, and they have this plastic blood coming out of their heads, and then they're like they're frozen and panning around, and it's handheld, and it's just insane. It's so unique.
Yeah, and he's like dropped the gun, and the gun is like suspended in air.
Yes.
And everything. Yeah. And then it stops, and then it cuts to a scene of his parents at his gravesite.
Yep.
And his mom is like listening to like another Buffalo Bills game like on the radio.
Yes.
She's like not even like paying attention to the fact that they just buried her son. She's like screaming at the game.
And Vincent Gallo, he looked at this movie, and I think he looks at all his movies for better or worse. I haven't seen them all, but it seems like that's the case. He looks at film as an artistic medium, purely an artistic medium.
Yeah.
Right. There are no rules. He knows the rules, and he's in this film. He's very good at choosing when to respect them and when to break them. Yeah. Like, it is a tour de force in the balance of being unconventional and keeping us, and still like telling a story in the Hollywood American way, Because to me, it is like Death of a Salesman or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like great literature.
But then it cuts back, and then
Sorry.
he like realizes that like he's spending all this time obsessing over his parents and like what his parents think of him and like his entire life up until this point. And then he's like,
for him.
Yeah, he's like, I don't have to live this way.
Yeah.
And he goes back to Christina Ricci. And it's
I've got a happy
ending.
Yeah, I love. Okay. Oh god, I'm getting chills again, dude. These chills are real. This movie just speaks to me. It makes me so emotional. She loves him so much by that third act, and she's so worried about him, and maybe it's the Munchausen syndrome or whatever.
Yeah.
And maybe it's love.
Stockholm.
And maybe it's love, and he leaves the optimist able to look at it that way, and he leaves the pessimist able to look at it that way. He doesn't answer that question. You have to kind of answer it for your. I mean, it is the best film about love that I have ever seen, because the brutality of love, and the randomness and the darkness of it, and how people find themselves through it.
Yeah. The only thing I would change about this movie, if we're gonna kind of move into that portion of the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I want to know more about Christina Ricci's backstory. Like, we really don't get to know much about her.
You know that she's vegetarian.
You know that she's vegetarian.
That's literally it.
And you know that she takes tap classes.
Yes, and that she fancies herself. She fancies herself an actress, right? Or she wants to. She has dreams of being in show business in some way. And that she's an innocent. I think we find out she's like 18 or something. There's no mention
when they filmed it. As I looked it up, I was like, "How young is she?"
Oh, what a brutal experience! Yeah, exactly. And I mean, there is something to not telling us about her, because this is a male film in the sense that it is about the male psyche and the male perspective, right? Sure. And that to her, she is a symbol to him. He's the main character, and he never shows any interest in who she is. He shows interest in how she is, right? And what she is, but not where she's from, because he doesn't care. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to burden her with that question. To him, that question would be awful.
Yeah,
right?
And I guess you would probably start to get the answers to those questions like after the movie ends, right?
Yes.
When he decides that he actually does care about her.
Yes, and
then he wants to enter into a life with her. But I still, at the same time, just like as a viewer, I was just kind of like,
of course.
Like, we're just kind of like throwing Christina Ricci around like a rag doll here. Like, I think she's got a whole lot more to offer.
Oh, I totally agree. And I do not stand by a lot of how he I mean, there's a lot to cancel. There's a lot of toxic shit in this film, but it is about being toxic. It is sort of a toxic male's perspective on toxicity.
Original incel kind of stuff.
And he is picking himself apart in this film. He is insulting. He is self-deprecating left and right here. He is criticizing the shittiest parts of himself. And he's not shedding them in a positive light, but he is shedding them in a heroic light. And that's very interesting to me.
Yeah, this was great, man.
It was a good one.
It's funny when it's funny. It's sad when it's sad. A lot of great actors, a lot of great performances.
So many good performances.
Some truly jaw-dropping moments. It goes a lot of places. It does.
Unlike any movie you'll ever see, you'll never see that story told in that way. It doesn't drag. It doesn't drag. When it slows down, it's on purpose, and it's nice. It's a breath.
Are you ready for my Letterboxd review of this movie?
Yes. So Matt Cragg has an incredible Letterboxd account where he writes hilarious Letterboxd reviews, and you can find them at Cragg'em.
Yeah, I post them all on Twitter. If you don't have a Letterboxd, you can all see them on my Twitter at Cragg'em. But for this movie, I said, wow, I can't believe David O. Russell would rip off this entire movie for Silver Linings Playbook.
I can see David Russell loving that movie. That's amazing. That was so great.
Don't you, Katie?
Oh, yes.
So this is my hot take. This is my hot take about Buffalo 66.
Oh, I got a little cue for hot take. I got a little cue for hot take. Hot take! You couldn't hear it, but it's dope. All right.
This is my hot take.
Yes.
That Silver Linings Playbook is a direct ripoff of this movie.
I love that take.
Bradley Cooper gets out of,
oh my God, you're so right.
He gets out of the institution.
Yes.
Right? He's not in jail, but he gets out of the mental institution.
Yes.
He comes home. His dad is also kind of mentally ill and is a crazy football fan. And to escape
he just switched it to the dad. You're so right.
To escape from that, he becomes involved with a girl who is a dancer and doesn't put up with his bullshit. Doesn't want to listen to he is crazy. And she just doesn't pay attention to how crazy he is at all. She's like, oh, whatever. And then falls in love with him anyway. And it's about him changing for her and getting out of that. This movie, Silver Linings Playbook is a ripoff of this movie.
I love that, and I think you're completely 100% right. And I love it even more because I'm not a huge fan of David O. Russell.
I'm not a huge David O. Russell fan either, but I always liked Silver Linings Playbook. It's generally
until now
of O. Russell's and Jennifer Lawrence's, and now it's tainted for me.
Yes, it is. It really is.
Clear he stole it from this movie,
and this is clearly a superior film.
Yes.
IMO and YMO. Wait, IMO and I and Y. Yeah, I think that's great. I think that's perfect. I think we should. We're gonna take a little break, a quick one. And then we are going to do a quick intern corner. Yes, I know, right? And then we're going to dive into Cragg's film, which is the incredible Vertigo. I'm embarrassed to say, I'm very embarrassed actually to say that I haven't seen this film.
It's hard to pick out a movie that you haven't seen. So I
appreciate that. I feel like there are a lot of movies I still haven't seen, and this show is actually making me watch a lot more stuff.
Thanks for making me watch Buffalo 66.
Anytime. That's my go-to. I'm excited to do this next time and have another set of movies. I'm just trying to find my stupid little thing for this. Oh, it's right here, obviously. Yeah, y'all, this is it. This is Fave Swap. We're going to be right back with more Fave Swap after Intern Corner, but right now, a little ad live from me. So here's the deal, guys. This is Patreon.com. It's a great website for people who are doing their own projects like me, Movie BLAB, the live stream. You can become a Patreon participant, you can become a Patreon patron, and this is how you do it. You go to patreon.com/movieblab and you sign up for, it could be $1, it could be $2, or it could be $3 a month. More if you're rich, but if you're a big fan and you can spare $3 a month or $1 a month, it would help us so much because running this costs a lot of money, actually. There are monthly subscriptions that I frankly just can't afford, and so I need your help. Hopefully eventually we'll have sponsors or advertising, but until then, it's you guys. So thanks for tuning in, and we are going to be right back with more Movie Blab. Rated X. Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Edison, and you're tuned in
to Movie BLAB.
Reading it loud and clear. The clock has started. The clock has started. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Never get rid of me. On my worst days, you can never get rid of me. Yeah. Hold up. Hey, if you wanna test me, you can get it. Got no time for the gimmicks. I ain't gonna play with you. I'm a beast in the game. Gonna remember my name. I can never be tame. We are not the same. The drip, yeah, drip off my chain. You know I'ma make your head bang. I do it for my hometown, DC, Northeast. Where them gorillas be? Do you think that you're ready for me? Cause I know that I'm ready for you. You can never, you can never, you can never. Ay. Do you think that you're ready for me? Cause I know that I'm ready for you. You can never. Man, y'all ain't ready for it. Welcome to the ozone. Hey, any, many, money, mo. Catch a hater by the throat. Apply the pressure, don't let them go. Any, many, money, mo. I know you want my spot, but you cannot have it. Just stay on the bench, cause I am the captain. Hey, I can never fall. Timber, I'm a god, I'm a goat. I'll forever be dope. Hold up. I can never fall. Timber, I'm a god, I'm a goat. I'll forever be dope. All you haters come together like a symphony. You don't wanna end up on the news as a tragedy. I'm my own enemy. On my worst days, you can never get rid of me. On my worst days, you can never get rid of me.
All right, guys, we are back. How is it going, everybody? It's super dope to be here with Matt Cragg. How are you, Matt?
Hey, what up?
We're going to be talking in a second about Vertigo, as this is Fave Swap. Super fun game, Fave Swap. We just talked about Buffalo 66, and after this we're going to talk about Vertigo. But first, it is time for everyone's favorite segment. It is time for Intern Corner.
Woo!
With Alex Kahn.
Yes!
Okay, so
Not yet. This is your intro. It's playing. Here we go. Where is it? Cue your intro. Come on now, worked hard on it. Play the song. Play the song. Play the song now. Play it. Well, we have to do it ourselves. It won't work. All right, let's do this. What do you have for us, Alex Kahn?
So, I was really inspired by what you guys were saying about Buffalo 66, which I have not seen yet, and I will see tonight.
We just spoiled that whole fucking movie for you, bro. That's rough stuff, dude.
I haven't seen it yet, but I was really inspired by what you said generally about as a filmmaker, like how Vincent Gallo kind of was very self-deprecating.
Yep.
And I find that this happens to me a lot because I feel like when I'm writing, I feel like my brain kind of goes above where I'm at. I could be my last film, I was really sad about a girl, and then when I was writing, I just was finding out how stupid I am.
Yeah, there's something to that. I think there's a balance, right? There's got to be a balance.
Yeah. Between... I just feel I feel like in so many ways your creativity kind of goes ahead of you, if that makes any sense.
Yes, but you have to kind of rein it in sometimes, though, right?
No, you do have to rein in sometimes, but I feel like you're you could be you're observing yourself, and you could be really sad about a situation, and then you could be you're writing a movie about that, and then you're actually saying how stupid you are, even though you're in the throes of it.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. No, it's a good take. What do you think, Cragg?
What I would say, a little advice for Alex is, I'd say most people should rein it in, but I don't think you ever should.
I love that. No, yeah. I mean, especially in the writing process, when you're shitting out a first draft, that's when you can really go nuts and explore who you are and what you're thinking, and then you kind of can rein yourself in from there. So I think that's a good observation. Anything else you want to add, Alex?
Yeah. So I just it was just
all right, that was Intern Corner with Alex Kahn. Thanks for tuning in, Alex. We'll see you next time.
You do great work, bud. Keep it up.
Wow, that was fun. Oh man, that was great. I could have played some different music, and I didn't. But my hot take is that was a good segment. He had some good ideas there. Yeah, he had some good thoughts. That was an impressive one.
It looks like that picture of Christina Ricci is very interested in what he has to say.
By design, actually. I thought about all of that, actually. Thank you for pointing that out.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
So let's hold on. Let's get back. Still there. I know. Let's get back to it. And
Vertigo.
And talk about Vertigo. That's right, guys. This is a super fun game that we're playing, and it's called Fave Swap. My special guest is Matt Cragg. We are swapping movies. We just talked about Buffalo 66, a fave of mine that I shared with Cragg for the first time. And now I've watched Vertigo for the first time on Cragg's Rec, and we are going to dive in. Join us, won't you?
Listen, I love anything with James Stewart. I will watch I think I've watched most movies he's been in. Especially his Hitchcock ones. Rear Window, Rope. But this one especially is it's just fantastic work there, Andrew.
It's just fading between you and Jimmy.
Wow, I really love the street movie BLAB, Andrew. You're doing great work with your friends.
I love a good live stream show.
I love a good Twitch stream.
Jimmy Stewart. I can't do it very good. I can't do it too good, but that's great.
I love the man is a national treasure, an American hero. And him and Hitchcock did some really great work together.
I agree.
This movie keeps you on pins and needles.
Yes.
It is tense.
It is.
And the way, and it's so Hitchcock too, with the long scenes of dialogue between two people in a room, and where it's like a play, and it's like
Rear Window if he could move.
Yeah. Like Rear Window if he can move. He moves all over the place in this one.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. It's not. It didn't beat Psycho for me. It didn't beat Rear Window for me. But it is an incredible Hitchcock movie. It was really. It felt like today I woke up feeling like I had a nightmare, and that nightmare was called Vertigo. Because there's a lot of weird, scary, creepy, like subliminal, hypnotic things that are going on. The hypnosis in this film is high.
Yes.
Like, if you were like, I want to watch a film that's going to hypnotize me, I'd be like, check out Vertigo. And it took a minute.
Vertigo.
It took a minute for the hypnosis to set in, because I think Hitchcock movies do they really take their time to sell you into the world and build a lot of suspense without telling you anything, while telling you a bunch of stuff that you don't even need to know. But it's like The Birds in that way. But I love it. I think it's great. But in that old movie way, where they sort of speak a lot of the, like,
it does such a good job of being like, hey, look over here, look over here,
yes.
look over here. While the whole time, like, the thing you need to see is right in front of your face.
Yeah, it's MacGuffin the movie. Yeah, no, totally. And I didn't see it coming at all. I mean, incredible, like, twist. I'm excited. There's so much. It felt like his most sprawling film. It was like his Chinatown. Or like
yes.
Chinatown was Vertigo.
I'm so glad you said that, because I wanted to point out that I think, like, I thought Silver Linings Playbook was a ripoff of Buffalo 66. I wouldn't say ripoff, but I would say Chinatown is heavily inspired by this film.
Absolutely, and as it should be. And it does its own thing with it. But and it was so I can't wait to go back and rewatch Chinatown, one of my all-time faves, to see. And I think the more I watch Vertigo, the more I'm going to get into it. I really like. I mean, I was gripped by the last act. I mean, I was gripped. Like, I would say I was. After the first act, I was hooked. But you know, and I haven't watched an older movie in a while. I think I don't know, a talkie like that in a while, and it starts very much as a talkie.
Yeah, I love those old, like, slow burning classic movies. Like, I really, really get into that.
I loved it. I mean,
like,
I don't even know what I'm saying.
Put your feet up.
I feel bad for even trying to criticize it, because I'm not. I'm just talking about where I wrestled with it, and then I mean,
That's fair.
And then there was another thing, the believability. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. It's an interesting dynamic I want to get to at the end after we talk about the telephone, the letter scene. But overall, I loved her. She was fantastic, the actress. We really should look up who these people
Kim
are.
Novak is her name.
Kim Novak I thought she was great. And obviously Jimmy Stewart was so charismatic. And just like Buffalo 66, this was a relationship that was toxic that I wanted to see work. And then you watched, like, and he kept her in a hotel room, and he made her.
Let's kind of set it up a little bit.
Yeah.
So
go ahead. I'm sorry. I need that. That's why I need you every episode. Go ahead.
So the film Vertigo starts with James Stewart running across the rooftops in San Francisco with another police officer. They're chasing after a bad guy. He's a San Francisco detective.
Yes.
He slips and almost falls off the roof and is, like, holding onto the edge.
Yeah.
And then the other cop who tries to help him to get back onto the roof slips and falls to his death. And Jimmy Stewart sees him fall to his death.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then it cuts, and right after that, he's retired from the police force, and he's hanging out with one of his old college friends, a woman who's, like, an artist and, like, designs, like, ladies' underwear or something like that.
Yes.
And she is helping him recover from his injuries that he took from that, and he is also suffering from vertigo. And what vertigo is not the fear of heights, but the other one.
Is it arachnoph? It's that he's dizzy and that he can't do heights. He can't do heights. Acrophobia. He can't do heights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so he's, like, trying to overcome, like, those mental blocks, but because he has that, he's the kind of guy. He's like, I'm not going to sit behind a desk. I can't be in the field. Like, I'm retiring from the police department.
And meanwhile, let me just point out that Jimmy Stewart, he is he is selling all of this. He's selling the vertigo. He's selling the anger. He's selling
the physical ailments too, like the back injury he's sustained.
And his refusal to quit is established from the beginning. Like you see him, he's up against all this stuff, but he's killing it with he's like doing his best to tackle all these forces that he's up against, both in himself and other people. But he also is like in this desperate place as a result of getting mixed up in this crazy fall.
Yeah, he's clearly struggling, but he doesn't want anyone to know he's struggling.
Yes, exactly.
He's trying to put on a face, but at the same time, he can't really hide it. And then he gets a phone call from another I think it's like an old war buddy of his or something like that. And he goes out and he meets him, and this guy is like super rich, super wealthy. He like builds ships. And he's like working at the docks in San Francisco, and he's like this like super capitalist, like titan of industry kind of guy.
Yeah. And
he is talking to him, and then he starts being like how superstitious are you, Jimmy? He's like, do you believe in spirits? Yeah, is that the two of them there? No, that's at the restaurant.
Yeah. Eventually, I'll like shift as we talk, but it seems too difficult.
Yeah. So he's like, what do you believe in, like spirits and stuff like that? And he's like, I think my wife is being possessed by a spirit. He's like, because there's times where she's totally present and in the conversation, and then she'll drift off, and it's like she wasn't even there, and she doesn't remember anything and doesn't know where she's been. And so you're like, okay, this is gonna get spooky.
Yes, it does get spooky so quick. It's probably like, it's not spooky's the word for the first act. Spooky as fuck. Like Psycho is creepy, but this movie is fucking spooky.
You froze for a second. Can you hear me?
Oh, you're back. Yeah, we refreshed, I think.
Okay. Woo.
You okay?
So what I was saying.
Did that scare you?
Yeah, no, I was just scared we were gonna lose I thought we were gonna lose the stream there for a second.
Yeah, I hope we didn't. We'll go with what we got. That's the fun of live.
That's the fun of live. So
we're killing it though, so I see how you're worried.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'm invested. In this movie,
dude.
man.
We're gonna play this all the time. I'm loving this.
He's spooked, and Jimmy Stewart's like, I don't know, and he's like, okay, well, just come see for yourself. We're gonna be at this restaurant. Come and see her for yourself and see what you think.
Yes, exactly.
So he goes to the restaurant, and he's like at the bar while they're at a table, and he like looks over and he sees his old war buddy with his wife, and it's Kim Novak, and she's like gorgeous and like takes Jimmy Stewart's breath away. And it's like
she has
so
crazy
Jimmy Stewart
hair, and
she's got this like, totally like bleach blonde, like pinned up hair, and she's wearing this like super elegant evening wear, like evening gown, and Jimmy Stewart becomes enamored with her. Yeah, and so he's like, it's not spoken, but it's like, I think he takes on the job because he wants to keep following this woman around.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And he wants to see what this woman is up to. So then you see him like follow her around, and he's like, she's going to like art museums and like going to like a grave site and like going to this like hotel room and just sitting there for hours a day.
Yeah.
And it's like, you're like, what is she doing? And it's like,
she's the it's almost like that fucking, it's almost like The Conjuring or something. Like it's like The Exorcist. It's like, the way, yeah.
And so, sort of through his investigative skills, he finds out about this woman named Carlotta Verga. Is that it? Carlotta.
Yes. I don't know. It's your movie. I don't know. See, the challenge of this game, let me just say this for a second.
Carlotta Valdez.
Okay, the challenge of this game is the person whoever's pick it is the one who is going to be able to talk the most extensively about the film.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
which is interesting, you know.
It is Carlotta Valdez, and then it's like she was like this woman who had been like abandoned by her super wealthy like lover, and she had a child, and the husband stole the child away, and then she was driven mad and killed herself.
Yes.
So that is who they believe possesses Kim Novak's character.
Mm-hmm. Because they believe in possession in this film, big time.
So something I wanted to ask you is,
yes.
Did you buy it?
There's so much I didn't buy about this film, if I'm being honest.
No, go for it.
That's going to be my hot take. If you want, should I just do my hot take?
Yeah, let's just talk about it.
So my hot take about this movie is it's his least believable, and I am including the birds, because he's asking the audience to believe that Jimmy Stewart is so crazy and stupid that he thinks that that this girl with brown hair is not her.
Okay, so
that is ridiculous.
That's like when you get in the third act, so she dies eventually.
Oh yeah, you were recapping. I'm sorry, I jump all over.
No, that's fine. What I was going to ask was,
recontextualize it.
Did you? Well, I don't want to go through and recap the entire movie. Okay, I'm just kind of trying to get.
Yeah, but what am I talking about? Yeah, no, I didn't say do it. Yeah.
Some understanding of what's going on, but did you believe that she was possessed, like in the first act?
No, I thought she was just mentally ill and that she was going to try to kill herself sometime soon. I felt that was, and then the possession thing. I didn't think that. I don't think Hitchcock ever does magic shit. He doesn't do magic. What movie has he done that besides the bird? I mean, there's a few things, but like I saw this as a more realistic thriller in the sense that like I thought that the characters obviously believed in possession, but it was too early in the movie for it to be possession. You know? Oh, you froze. Let's cut the stream, and we'll be right back with another stream to save this one. Because I'm losing Cragg. So let's see how it's going, and we will be back. Stay tuned for more Movie Blab.
Lost you again.
Yeah, I know. I'm wondering if we should restart the stream.
I turned my Wi-Fi on. Should I turn it back off?
No, let's keep it. We got Twitch viewers. Let's keep it going. We're back.
Keep going.
Yeah. Okay. So the thing about the believability of the movie. So he's asking the audience to believe. He's fooling us into believing that his characters are stupid. And that felt like I didn't believe it because the portrayal of the characters was not that they were stupid or so crazy that, I mean, sure, he was questioning his reality or whether she was real or not. And I dug that aspect of it. I don't know. It's so complex. It's so hard to watch this movie yesterday and talk about it because it's so dense, you know?
It is dense.
I feel like an idiot.
It may not be the best choice for like,
yeah, please know if you're tuning in that I can't analyze this movie well enough. This is just what I struggled with on a first time viewing, but I loved it. I did love it. The more I talk about it, the more I'm loving it.
Let's talk about what Hitchcock is asking us to believe. So first, he's asking us to believe that Kim Novak is possessed by Carlotta Vega or Vertigo or whatever her name is.
Yes.
And then he's asking us to believe that Jimmy Stewart also believes this. And then he wants us to believe that she's killed herself. And then he wants us to believe
I got tired of it.
That Jimmy Stewart has found someone on the street that just looks exactly like her, but just has brown hair.
Yeah, that's the crazy part for me. That's the part where I'm just like what? Like, I guess it felt like a Shakespeare. Like, I get it in Shakespeare, right? Like, you have to buy that shit in Twelfth Night. That, like, you know, that they've cross-dressed or Tootsie or whatever. Oh, I'm losing you again. Okay, we're gonna cut the stream, guys. We will be back though in just a second. So hover over your mouse because I'm worried about this Wi-Fi situation. I think it's on. Is it your Wi-Fi or is it me? No, it's you.
I think it's
me. Okay, no worries.
It's me.
I
just
fine.
turned my Wi-Fi on.
I'm just trying to nip it in the bud. Before it happens. Anyway, shit. What were you saying? I'm so freaked out about tech issues.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
The connection on my end is not great right now for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah. I wonder if people at your house are watching a movie or something. It doesn't matter though. Keep going.
He asks us to believe quite a bit, and I understand that as a criticism. And like thinking like, well, are these people just stupid or like, do they not understand what's going on? But at the same time, like, for most of it, I didn't know what was going on, right? Like,
Yeah.
that's part of the fun, right? Like,
Yes.
you have to figure it out, too.
Yep. He doesn't let you in on very much.
It is so absurd, and you're like, well, okay, well, I don't think that this is what's happening, but what is happening?
So I think this...
And I think...
Yeah, go ahead.
Because of that, I think that's what makes it a fun, like, mystery.
Yes, it does make it fun. At the same time, I see why... Okay, so there's this... Let's get into the letter scene.
Okay.
On that note, right? I mean,
Yes.
so speaking of letting the audience in on stuff, there is a scene. This entire movie is all from Jimmy Stewart's perspective, it feels like, right? I mean...
Yes.
And then there is one scene that Hitchcock shot that he was never sure about from the script to the get-go.
It's the first scene that Jimmy Stewart's not in.
Yes, it's the only scene.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense that it's in the movie because it's literally the woman sits down to write a letter and then reveals all of the twists that will then be revealed to later on to Jimmy Stewart. But when it's revealed to Jimmy Stewart, there's so much going on, I guess, in the emotional impact of it, but also it's such a chaotic delivery of this twist that it's debatable whether it requires this letter scene where she writes down how she's betrayed him and how it was all a setup, and he, I
don't think it. I think that Hitchcock's original idea to keep that scene out was correct.
Yes.
But I could see how a studio head says, nobody's going to understand who she is if we don't.
Yes.
But I think that's part of the thing is you want to be like, wait, this is the same woman, right?
Yeah.
Like, this has to be the same woman. Like, just because she has brown hair now, like, I'm not buying it. Like,
but it gets to what you were.
Woman.
It gets to what you were saying about and it gets to what you were saying about just like, I mean, I think that you would be. At the same time, it prevents twist fatigue. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like it does keep, because by then you kind of want to get thrown a bone, and maybe Hitchcock knew that. I don't know.
Yeah, at this point he has asked you to like suspend your disbelief for a lot of the movie. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I could also see why he struggled with being like, yeah, maybe we should keep it in, because like the audience at this point in the movie needs to start figuring out what is actually even going on.
Seriously, yeah. It's like, let us in on some stuff. But that's why I think it's such a good rewatch, and I can't wait to watch it again, is because that's when you get to really take a Hitchcock movie and enjoy it, is once you've seen it the first time. Then there's so much to go back and look for, and it's a whole new viewing experience every time I watch a Hitchcock movie.
Yeah, so I mean, we can nitpick the ins and outs.
You're right. I'm not trying to do that.
No, I know, but I'm saying like you could, like if you wanted to talk about Vertigo for a couple hours, you could nitpick the ins and outs of like the mystery. But there are so many other great parts about this movie.
Yes. Dive in.
The cinematography, just the way that they show San Francisco, and like there's so many great like action set pieces for a movie made in the 50s.
Yes.
Which is insane. Like the effects are
the effects are good now.
Are good now.
That was a huge mind-blowing thing when I watched. I was like, this looks as clean as, I mean, it's got its own style that makes it look great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. And he does a lot of things too that I don't think like had been done too much before. If you want to talk about like the nightmare sequence.
I do. I feel like that influenced Rosemary's Baby in a huge way.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that, I mean, that's obviously like, that's to me the shower scene of this Hitchcock film is is this amazing nightmare sequence.
Where Jimmy Stewart's having a nightmare in which he starts to kind of put the pieces together, but then also is afraid that he is the one that falls out of the bell tower, and just sort of like it's kind of going through like his like insurmountable grief at losing this woman that he loves, but at the same time him like getting over his own like phobias and fears and like mental disorders and like how to live his life. And they put it together, and there's all these like crazy flashing colors, and they have like all those like Windows 98 screensaver type things like going across the film.
I think the screensavers, they sat down for the screensaver meeting in the 90s, and they were like, okay, we're going to design a couple iconic screensavers, and let's do them like Vertigo.
Have you seen the Alfred Hitchcock movie?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, talk about San Francisco. There's a beautiful shot.
Yeah. There's a beautiful shot.
Oh, there's an animation of an incredible moment that's also
during the nightmare scene, where he thinks he's falling out of the bell tower because he sees her fall out of it. Yeah, there it is there. I mean, there's just some like absolute like beautiful shots of this that mission that they spend a lot of time at, and then like just the streets of San Francisco, him driving around, like the art museum, the Golden Gate Bridge, like they just
it's like really, a tour. Yeah, it's really, you feel like you hung out in San Francisco.
Oh yeah, it's really immersive in that world for sure. Really gorgeous, and like even all the interior stuff too. Like they did such a good job of like really like blowing that stuff out and making it look either as like run down or extravagant as possible.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, the design of the movie, the color palette, it was in color, right? I mean, it was, because I thought it didn't look Technicolor or whatever.
No, it's in color. Yeah,
it was, and it seemed all the colors seemed super intentional. And I think in the opening, was it his first color movie? Because the opening
it's one of the first ones that was like a real color movie too.
Because the opening is black and white, and then it's like this burst of a red, like, here I come, bitch, I'm Hitchcock and I got color now. Like, boom, I'm gonna blow your fucking mind. Like it's like a crazy 3D opening or something, right? Like
it's like a zoom in on an eye, and then it's like one of those crazy like Windows 98 screensaver type things. And then it's trippy. It's cool.
So trippy.
It's really cool. Like I would like to go back and like read about like how he did a lot of that stuff and like read a lot of the IMDb trivia. I haven't like gone into that a whole bunch.
For Vertigo? Yeah. I mean, I could take a bite of pizza and we could take a quick break and keep going if you wanted, or we could wrap it up. Either way.
I think we should probably wrap it up.
Yeah. I mean, the trivia isn't. Yeah, take a quick. Take a quick. Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, let me plug some stuff. I think that's.
Do you have any final? Thoughts about the movie?
No, I feel like I demonstrated what it was like to watch it for the first time. I don't know enough. I mean, it is such a complex movie. It's like watching Chinatown for the first time and being like, here's what it's about.
It's dense. It's kind of hard to like recap in like a short segment like this. So that's good to know though for like future fave swaps.
Yeah, well, then maybe I'll try and watch a film like that twice because I'm planning these even further ahead. But obsession was such a huge theme in this movie. Obsession. Mm-hmm. He became obsessed with her, and I thought that transition, both on a performance level and the writing level in Hitchcock, was like really seamless. As like suddenly he was
the stuff where he's like, "Well, let me dye her hair."
Yeah.
Oh my god. Great dress. I'm gonna put her in the dress.
Wait. Hold on. Say it again.
Like, why don't you dye your hair blonde? You wouldn't care, would you? I shouldn't understand.
You got the hair wrong. You got to do it this way. You go back in the bathroom and fix it.
Plain gray suit. A plain gray suit for the woman.
You know the one I want.
You know the one I want. It was from last year.
So fucking funny.
Yeah, he becomes obsessed. I mean, he's such a good actor.
Yeah, he is.
I'm like such a fan of even that weird voice of his is just so perfect. And there's like nobody quite like Jimmy Stewart.
He is. I mean, this was honestly one of my few Jimmy Stewart like films I've seen. See, you say I've seen all these movies, but I'm lacking on my Jimmy Stewart movies, and I am smitten.
That's what this segment is going to be. It's just going to be me making you go back and watch old Jimmy Stewart movies.
Please don't.
Hey, Andrew, you got to see more of my movies.
give me at least every other. But speaking of which, Cragg, there's a lot of dope. That was amazing, and by the way, that was an amazing fave swap with Matt Cragg. Oh my gosh, such a fun segment. We talked about Vertigo. We talked about Buffalo 66. One very different movies, but there were similarities. And an amazing first fave swap.
Love and obsession.
Yeah, movies about love and obsession and angry men losing their minds. So we are going to get into a little show news here. I want to just talk about a few things coming up on the show. As you can see, we have a dope set. We have a lot of regular programming now, so that's very exciting. Just to let you know, I'm very excited about tomorrow because in the afternoon, we are going to be playing, you're going to see Matt Cragg again, and we're going to be playing a Jeopardy game show. Let's take a look at the promo for the Jeopardy game show right here. We're looking really high def. That's right, guys. We're going to be playing movie Jeopardy BLAB live tomorrow afternoon. So we'll hope you'll tune in for that or catch it on the replay. It's going to be dope. We got Katie McDowell, Al Phallic, and, of course, the beautiful Matt Cragg is going to join us 2 days in a row.
Bestest friends.
Yes, what a gift. It's going to be a beautiful and intense competition that I'm going to be preparing, I guess, tonight since we're going in the afternoon.
Yeah, someone's got to dethrone Katie. Katie is...
Yes,
is she
she's our reigning
in
champion.
Jeopardy, in movie Jeopardy BLAB?
She was defeated, I believe. Nope. I think she's undefeated. Yep. In all the games she's played, she's never been beaten.
Be taken. She's like the Ken Jennings.
And I think Al is going to give her a run for her money. That's Katie McDowell, everyone. Katie McDowell Photography.
Katie McDowell.
Yeah,
I got a couple of things I want to plug.
Well, I'm not done plugging. We've got.
I'm sorry.
Also, look out for Tuesday. Sunday's going to be a fun, chill show, but Tuesday we are doing another Fave Swap. This time with Sharad Patel, and I'm going to be watching the film.
Ringo Starr classic.
Ringo Starr's. I want to say Chewbacca, but that's not what it is. What's it called? Oh, Caveman.
Ringo Starr,
It's called Caveman. Ringo Starr's Caveman, which no one has seen, but this is what Sharad is insisting that I watch. And in exchange, we're going to make him watch an amazing film from 2012 called The Comedy, starring Tim Heidecker, shot right where I live in Brooklyn. A really interesting film. Fucked up. My taste is terrible.
Yeah, a crazy movie.
Yeah. So that's going to be a really trolly episode. So I'm excited for that because that's the spirit of Movie BLAB. And I can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. Again, here is a dope little next week card for us that you can see for tomorrow. This is for tomorrow, so please tune in. And guys, it's been super fun. I think those are all my announcements. Please follow us on Facebook. Please follow us
Andrew,
on Twitter.
Can I plug?
Yes. And please follow us on Twitch and YouTube. And now, Matt Cragg, do you have anything you'd like to plug?
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You're okay, bud.
I wanted to plug my Twitter account. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, where I post all my Letterboxd reviews and other fun things like left-wing politics and sports.
He has one of the best
anything
Twitters
about sports.
You have the best Twitter of all my friends. The best Twitter of all my friends. At
you
Craggum.
can follow me at Craggum.
Craggum. Craggum.
Yes. And then the other thing I wanted to plug, there's a great organization here in Houston called the Southern Smoke Foundation, and they're doing a great job of raising a lot of money for people in the restaurant industry right now that are struggling and have lost their jobs due to COVID-19. They've raised over $1 million so far that
that's amazing.
Exclusively goes just to people just to service workers and back of house workers that are struggling because of the coronavirus. So please feel free to donate what you would.
Where do we go for that? Where do we go for that?
That is going to be it's going to be called southernsmoke.org. It's a great organization. So check that one out too. southernsmoke.org. Donate today.
There we go, guys. Let me see if I can make that a little bit more readable. There we go. That's right. You heard it from Cragg. southernsmoke.org. Donate today to help people in the service industry. Did I hear you correctly?
Yes. It's for restaurant workers.
I mean, it's so sad. Talk about the unemployment. I mean, that's where it's just so tragic because it's just not fair. It's not safe for us to go to restaurants. We shouldn't go to restaurants, but it's still just not fair to them. And obviously the government's doing very little to help. Anyway, except for Cuomo. Anyway, those are our political views. Not that you give a fuck, you fucking crazy people out there. Just kidding. I love you. This has been a super fun episode. Thanks for tuning in to Movie Blab, and we will see you guys tomorrow for Movie Jeopardy. And this is the outro. Thanks again to Matt Cragg at Craggum. Y'all are the best. We love you, and let's keep building this blab.
Hey everybody, I'm Andrew Edison, and you're tuned in
to Movie Blab.
That was killer, Cragg. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope that my internet didn't fuck it up too much. I don't know what. Yeah, I mean, my internet up here is always going to be like somewhat spotty. I think it was better. Yeah. And that was also interesting, too, because we had a lot easier time, I feel like, talking about Buffalo 66 than we did about Vertigo. Oh, no, it was fun. I had a blast. We'll have to do another one.